So when you're riding the mini bikes with the 5-inch wheels, the TriStar wheels, like the Azusa bike or the GTS bike, and you hit a bump, those bikes can get a bit sketchy sometimes when you're doing 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. So to fix that problem, I picked up this dampener off of Amazon. So I'm gonna mount this on the GTS frame, and I think this will definitely help it out. So it comes with a mount for the body of the dampener, but it doesn't come with a mount for the frame. So I'm gonna make one. I'm gonna use this collar and mount this onto the frame, weld a nut onto the collar, and then that way I have a mounting point on the frame. So I think that should work out. So I'm gonna mount the dampener somewhere about right there. So I think that's a pretty good fit. What's cool about this dampener, it's pretty small. So it'll fit on this small frame really well. So I'll mount this here, and then the body mount for the dampener, put on about right there, next to the tank mount. So I'm gonna take this collar and bolt it to the frame, and then weld a nut on here. And that way, I have the dampener mount, which will bolt right there. So I think that'll work out pretty good. So I think I'll mount this right in the middle here. So that way it'll have room between the frame and the bar here on the T-bar. So I'm gonna drill a hole right there. So I got the hole drilled. So I got the bolt, and I think I'm gonna mount the bolt with a spacer down here. I'm gonna put a spacer on it, and that way the dampener will be mounted down lower on the bolt, so it's more parallel with the frame right here. So we got that bolted on there. So now I'll put my mount right here with my collar, and the nuts welded on there, and then you can just take the bolt and screw it in. And then there's the frame mount. So I'll go ahead and weld that nut on that collar. Let's bolt this collar on here on the damper. We'll see where it needs to go. All right, so I got the collar on there. I think that's about the right spot. Pretty close. So now I'll bolt the damper, steering stabilizer to my collar. Then I'll tighten the damper mount. All right. So there we go. That looks like it'll work. It's kind of cool. It's got adjustability on it here too. So you can adjust the tightness of the damper. All right, so let's go test this out. See if it helps any. So the stabilizer definitely makes a big difference. So this thing's a night and day difference of what it used to be. So I took the bike out over the bumpy parts on the road at speed, and it definitely makes a difference. The steering is totally stable. The cool thing about it is the stabilizer is on one of its lowest settings, and it still stabilizes the steering. I mean, you can feel it. So it's definitely a worthwhile mod. I'm gonna have to install one of these on the Isuzu bike for sure. And then off camera, I went ahead and drilled a hole in the bottom mount here on the T-bar, and then mounted the stabilizer on the bottom mount, but the angle is just too much of an angle. So it's definitely better up here on the top mount.